Hey friends, it's Coleman and it's Two for Tuesday, our first Two for Tuesday of 2023. We hope you and your family had an awesome time celebrating Christmas and the New Year, and welcome back to another phenomenal year of Two for Tuesdays. If you're new with us, what we do is we take 2 minutes and we talk about something that we talked about in our previous message from the previous Sunday. We have just started a series in the book of Acts, so our Two for Tuesdays for the next many weeks we'll be focusing on Acts chapters 1 through 8. So, 2 minutes on the clock, on your mark, get set, Two for Tuesday. So something we saw as we looked at the book of Acts is this, that the thing that makes this work, the secret sauce, if you will, of the book of Acts, isn't the apostles. It's not Peter, it's not James, it's not these guys. It's what they have. It's what they get from Jesus, the Holy Spirit, that makes it work. And we talked about this. Sometimes we call the book of Acts the Acts of the Apostles, and that's probably not the best name because it's not the apostles that are doing what's happening. It's the Holy Spirit working through them that is doing what's happening. So a better name for this book is probably the Acts of the Holy Spirit through the apostles. Or the Acts of the Holy Spirit sent by Jesus through the apostles. That would probably be the best name for the book of Acts. But it's incredible. We see the Holy Spirit all over the place, but one of the places we see it a lot is in the Gospel of John. And in John 14, starting in verse 15, Jesus says this, "If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you and be with you forever, the Spirit of truth." And then he tells us why. "The world cannot accept him," the Spirit of truth, but because it neither sees him nor knows him, but you know him, and he lives with you and will be in you. And this is Jesus promising the Holy Spirit, which we actually will see next week in the coming weeks through the story of Pentecost and God sending the Holy Spirit upon this church. But friends, when was the last time that you remembered that the same Spirit that rose Jesus Christ from a grave dwells in you? When was the last time you remembered that as we read through the stories of Acts and it says that the disciples get arrested and then the others are having a prayer meeting and that miraculously, John and Peter break out of a Roman prison that they're in? Like, when was the last time you realized that the same Spirit that made that happen is the same Spirit that lives in you, that dwells in you? 1 Corinthians chapter 6 tells us that we are temples of God. The temple is the place where the Spirit of God dwelled. And when we see Jesus crucified, the curtain that separates the Holy of Holies, the place where the Spirit of God dwelt, we see that curtain is torn, this massive curtain, it's torn, signifying this, that the Spirit of God doesn't live in this building anymore. The Spirit of God now lives in us, and we are now temples. Our bodies are now temples for the Holy Spirit who now lives in us. And the same power that we will see that empowers, the same person that we will see, the Holy Spirit, that empowers these incredible acts through the book of Acts, that same power lives in us. And I think it's super important for us to remember that. So as we went into hard and difficult and challenging times, we can go, hey, that same power, that same Spirit is in me, and I can rely on it and trust in it, and it will give me the same strength and wisdom and courage that it gave these men and women as they started the church right after Jesus ascends. And he says, hey, it's your turn now. Have fun. So it's our turn now. So let's have some fun as we trust and follow the Holy Spirit. It's this week's Two for Tuesday. We'll see you next week as we continue on in the book of Acts. Take care and bye-bye.